Hi, I'm Yannick Hanfman.
I'm Ilya Marchenko.
I'm Dennis Kudla.
This is Sebastian Wolfner.
It's Marc-Andrea Whistler.
I am Francisco Cerundolo.
And you're listening to the GTL podcast. Hopefully you enjoy it.
Hopefully. Hey, welcome back, tennis fans. Another episode of The Countdown. If you are new to the channel, welcome. And we'll be taking you through the contenders. We'll also be taking you through the latest news, our game, the tennis shootout, the rankings update, and finishing off with the surprise package. Isn't that right, JG?
Yes, not long to go now. 1 week left until the grass courts of Wimbledon. Me and Ben will be covering as much as we possibly can. And of course, this episode is the penultimate episode before the championship. So you don't want to miss it. We're going to be going through all of the things Ben said. This is episode 2 of the countdown of Wimbledon 2023.
Novak Djokovic has won the Australian Open. 35 matches unbeaten. He's done it. He wins his 14th Roland Garros title. Djokovic has won his 7th Wimbledon title.
Yes, there's
excited,
the big
aren't you?
Come on, yeah, I know. He won his 7th Wimbledon title, as we know, Djokovic last year. We spoke about Djokovic on the last one. This one, we will be speaking about somebody different. That's the way we do each of these episodes. And the grass court season is officially underway. There have been 2 tournaments so far. There is another tournament that's going to be playing this week as well. And we're going to go through some of the movers and shakers through the grass court swing so far. I know it's only a short one. It'll be over in a couple of weeks. But there have been some standout performers, haven't there, JG?
Yes, and the 2 on the men's, if we start with just the men's, of course we'll touch on the women's in a moment, has been Harler and Queens. They're the ones which are very notable, and you can probably name some other ones as well, but they're the ones I really like to look at as a good indication before Wimbledon. And we've had Bublik winning Harler, and Queens, Carlos Alcaraz. It's his 3rd grass court event, and you can just see him progressing and progressing. He's won a title on his 3rd event, which is crazy. Wimbledon, the first time wasn't amazing, then got better last year. This year, you'd expect him to do even better after just winning Queens. He was saying how he felt super comfortable on the grass, and he settled into it, saying he's playing some of his best tennis, and it didn't really take him long to do so. On the other hand, Bublik, is it a good thing he's won Harler? I'm not so sure it is. Reason being, it seems to be a curse, as we know. Every player who's won Harler for the last 10 years, aside from Roger Federer, has gone out in the first round of Wimbledon. I know last year it was Hurkacz. I believe there was a Cole Schreiber in there. And I'll let you guys fill in all the rest in the comment section. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I just know it's a curse. So based off that, is Bublik looking at this scenario thinking, oh, damn, I'm going to get someone good first round and go out? Or is he going to get anyone and just go out? Is the curse going to continue? Probably will. It probably will. We know tennis is a bit strange and things always happen the same time and time again. However, one thing about Bublik's victory is he played some ridiculous players on route. I don't know if we're going to quickly go through it.
I can bring it up if you want.
He beat pretty much everyone who you'd think would be very good on grass courts. I was just super impressed with the whole run. Look, I think you've got it up on the screen now. You can see the final was against Rublev. He beat Zverev, Sinner, Struff, and Toric.
I mean, it's an amazing list of players, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, doesn't get much more difficult, especially 2 Germans in there as well, Struff and Zverev, who are actually big servers, big guys, very, very tough matchups.
Struff's, I think, is going to be a great player on the grass courts. He was someone who I was potentially going to have as my surprise package on the last episode. I went with Musetti. Maybe I'll go Struff this time, but I don't know. Maybe Bublik would be a better shout.
Yeah, maybe.
Probably not, because he won Harlan. He's going to go out first round.
Well, if he keeps the
he's already out in my eyes.
I feel that if he remains confident and doesn't play all these silly antics, then I think he'll be okay.
You don't believe in the curse?
I feel that it's always there to be broken. And what was the curse that there was before? I think it was Hachanov. He'd lost like umpteen times in a row, and then eventually got over the hump, didn't he?
Well, against
So
top 10 players.
That was it. And so I feel that is the type of thing that can happen in tennis. So it's there to be broken. Maybe Bublik's the guy, when he puts his mind to it, he's the one who can break these records. So I'm excited. Let's get into our contenders first section anyway. Bublik, he's not the person we're going to be focusing on here today. On the men's side, press the button. We'll find out who. Ooh, there he was.
In the picture. Is that on purpose or?
No, he's just there. Contenders. It is going to be none other than, and I'm sure you knew the title of the video as well, Carlos Alcaraz, and he's adapting to the grass courts. I knew it would be only a matter of time, but I thought maybe it'd take another year. No, he's not going to take another year. He's actually here and he's playing brilliantly in London. He won Queens and in fantastic style. He started a bit slow, I have to be said, against Rinderknecht. Nearly went out in the first round, but after that, plain sailing, and he looks a natural, I think, now on the grass.
I just want to clarify to everyone who's watching, maybe if this is your first episode, we did speak about Djokovic as our number one contender on the last episode. We're not just overshadowing him at all. This one, it's going to be about Alcaraz. On the women's, I think we've agreed it's going to be Sabalenka.
Yeah.
And on the first one, we had Rybakina on the women's. Yeah. So they're the four contenders we've had so far. Speaking about Alcaraz, like you said, he was slow against Rinderknecht, and that was the only set he lost into winning Queens. But I do believe a lot in what he was saying, how he has adapted, and the way he played against Korda, I think that was better than de Minaur, because I watched all of the highlights, and there's some good extensive ones on YouTube. He played a lot better against Korda than he did de Minaur. And de Minaur actually played some fantastic shots, and he could do some good stuff at Wimbledon if he has a nice draw. But yeah, Alcaraz Korda was fantastic because Korda played very well. Alcaraz did as well. And that, for me, has shown that he can be a contender at Wimbledon, because if he produces that level, he will go extremely far. And aside from Djokovic, I don't know who beats him if he plays like that. I don't think anyone would. Maybe you can say Medvedev if he's really inspired, but I don't know. What have we seen of him of late? Nothing which shouts home on the grass.
No.
And I just think he's certainly a big contender. But if you do that matchup with Djokovic, I am so disappointed with Roland Garros. I don't think I've spoke about it enough, really. That match was billed to be such a big match.
Yeah.
There was so much hype around it. We were getting so excited. And if I'm totally honest, it disappointed me. It was the most anticlimactic match I've ever seen of tennis, because we was expecting all these big things. And I hate to say it, but Alcaraz, did he bottle it? That's harsh. I think he just didn't handle it. He just didn't handle the occasion at all. The pressure got to him, and I was a bit disappointed. I'm not going to rip into him and say and start criticizing his character. He's a young guy, and he's never shown something like that really before. You could maybe say against Sinner in Miami, against Gaston in Paris that time, there was a few frailties. But all in all, he's extremely consistent and a wonderful tennis player. But he just did disappoint me a tad against Djokovic, because I think a lot of that wasn't even physical. It was because mentally, the tension and the pressure in his body just become too much. And I hope we don't see something like that again.
Well, I
lost a little bit of hope in him.
I haven't, because I think it's all a learning curve. I feel that he hadn't been to the depths of playing Djokovic at a slam and knowing what it was like to be in that type of grueling environment. Other players have been there with him. You have to go there a few times to try and understand what it takes mentally to take on someone like Djokovic in a Grand Slam match. And I don't think he was ready yet. I feel that was a real good test.
He gave way after about an hour and a half. hour and 20 minutes.
It was
That
grueling,
long.
hour and a half though.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. He's a professional tennis player who's just won the US Open by playing the longest amount of time on court. I don't understand this whole thing of like, oh, it was just too much. Thing he couldn't handle it. It wasn't.
No.
He didn't play loads of matches before, like really tough matches. He played a lot longer at the US Open, went all the way and won it.
Yeah, but
The
he's not
difference
used
is he never faced a Novak Djokovic on route
Yeah,
to win the
exactly
US Open.
right.
He did now, and it was purely the presence of him being the other side of the court what caused him to do it.
And that causes people to play differently. The person that is a good
So does that not disappoint you?
It does, but remember how young he is as well, and think how many more years he's got to improve. Somebody I'll use as a comparison, who incredible tennis player as well, Andy Murray. He was fantastic. He would always get to the finals, but he would come up against the person down the other end of the court, namely like a Roger Federer, who he just was beaten mentally. You could just see that he'd already lost, like after like a set. And that's the sad thing, really. Until he played him a few times, the fear went. And he realized after he beat him at the Olympics, oh, I can actually do it. I have the ability to crush my own mental demons. I feel Alcaraz stronger mentally than even what Murray probably was. And I know that there's probably going to be people attacking
Do you know the big difference between an Alcaraz and an Andy Murray is their styles. Andy Murray can be very defensive. He's a bit of a counter puncher.
Percentage.
Alcaraz is someone who has the ability to blow an opponent off the court. He can also do very delicate drop shots. He's so versatile. A lot more versatile than Andy Murray is or ever will be now. And on that basis, if he was able to play that big hit in tennis at Roland Garros, I'm sorry, Ben, he would have beaten Djokovic. He just wasn't able to do it, though. If Andy Murray plays some of his best stuff, you could argue maybe he can beat these players. The difference is with him, it's a lot more, it's reliant on how the opponent plays. I think with Alcaraz, it's not really dependent on how the opponent plays. Because if he just does his thing, no one really gets to him.
But that is the problem, isn't it? When you're faced with new challenges down the other end of the court, sometimes you have to overcome the mental demons. And now he's faced him once. We've seen last year he played at Wimbledon. He lost to Yannick Sinner. And let's go to his last year's at Wimbledon. I've got it here just so that we can go through it. And he got past. Look, I mean, Jan-Lennard Struff in 5 sets. Never an easy matchup is the German. Kriegspor, Oscar Otte. And then he came up against Sinner, who now, if you probably pitted him against Sinner, I feel that he would have learned from that matchup. And you'd probably fancy him to beat Sinner now. And I feel that that's just the leveling up. If he plays Novak Djokovic again, maybe even at this Wimbledon, is one match might even be enough for him to have conquered his own mental demons. He's a very, very fast learner, Carlos Alcaraz. That's the one thing.
Not just that, with Alcaraz now, the beauty of it is he won't play a Sinner this early on or someone of that caliber because he's a higher seed.
Yeah.
And we'll get onto that in a minute when we speak about the rankings. But that's what makes me think he will have some easier matches to get going. But there's no easy matches in a Grand Slam. You can get a really inspired qualifying. It's going to be tough. Or the likes of an unseeded Andy Murray or Jan-Lennard Struff, who's dangerous. I think Struff is he seeded now, though?
Yeah, he is. Yeah. So, yeah, we won't have to face him. But I feel that he has come on leaps and bounds.
And Offner, maybe.
Well, yeah, exactly. Offner has a wild card in. Got to give him a shout out. Made it into the top 70 for the first time in his career. Didn't even have to go through qualifying. What a joy that must be for him. Obviously, did so well at the French Open. We got to give him a shout out because we obviously did meet him. There will be some content coming out on the channel soon that we filmed with him. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Sign up to the Patreon as well because there will be additional exclusive content going on there too. I did see a good tweet that was put out. It was actually Stephen from the Slice put one out regarding Alcaraz because there's a lot of people monitoring this grass court swing just to see how is he improving from last year. And I thought he had a really good tweet that came out. So let's go and have a look at that. And I thought that this was actually really good. Oh my God, my computer's going crazy. Right, let's just take that off there and I'll try again. Right, let's do it. There you go. That's better. Why was it doing that? Right, this is a really good one, I think, from Stephen. And he said, reasons why Alcaraz can be great on grass. Number one, he's Carlos Alcaraz. Number two, the grass makes his serve better. Number three, his backhand up the line can be really flat and a deadly shot. Number four, his touch around the court is immaculate. 5, he's figuring out the movement. And I think that's one of the key ones there. Number 5, I thought that should have been maybe even a bit higher. And number 6, his forehand. Duh.
Kind of ties into him being Carlos Alcaraz.
Yeah, exactly. But I thought that was a good list of things from the slice there. And I think the movement one is the key one there. He last year, he was fresh to the grass. He was still working it out. And he still did pretty well. But now he's had a year to sort of like take all that in. He's back on the grass again. He's played Queens. He's won Queens. And I think I saw a tweet that you sent over to me as well that said that he, out of, is it active players? He's the only one to have won on ATP 500 on all surfaces now, which...
Well,
amazing.
he's not the only one.
No,
Him,
Murray,
him,
and Djokovic,
Murray,
and
Rafa, Nadal, and Djokovic.
That's it.
So out of the active tennis players, it's him with the big 2 plus 1.
4.
It's not big 4.
Poor old Murray. Come on, he's in the big 4. Just let him have it. But yeah, it was a good tweet though. I did, when you sent that over, I was like, that's a bit mad that it's just his name has just been included in greatness. But yeah, do you have anything more you want to add to the Alcaraz bandwagon, or shall we move on to our next lady, who it will be?
Yes,
Sabalenka.
Yes, we can move on, but I would like to see some of the betting odds. Maybe we can look at them together at the end. We'll look at both the women's and the men's at the end. So let's move on to the ladies, and the one we've chosen. First episode was Rebecca. Second episode is Sabalenka. It's not Iga. It's not Iga. And we both agreed about this off air. Reason being, Saba should be a lot better at Wimbledon than what Iga has been. Iga, it's her worst slam. She lost to Elise Cornet last year. She doesn't fill me with loads of confidence. However, she just won Roland Garros. It is Iga. And if she has a good run, she still will be able to beat a lot of opponents on anything. Doesn't matter what surface. You could play on glass and she'd win a lot of matches. However, Sabalenka, I'd like her chances. Did she get to, what was it, a semi-final a few years ago? She was obviously banned last year.
Yep.
She has the ability on this surface to be a real champion who dominates, like Iga does at Roland Garros. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Sabalenka's name 5, 6, 7 times winning Wimbledon. The problem with her is her mind. And I'm sorry, but at Roland Garros against Mukova, she collapsed again. She bottled it. It was a typical Sabalenka bottle job. The big worry is she going to start doing that again. Against Pliskova in the semi-final a few years ago when she did play here. I know we was covering it. That was so poor from her. She just didn't turn up. And Pliskova didn't have to do much really to beat her. And it's just yet again, and the back end of a slam, not delivering, semi-final again. And that is the only thing what's going to really affect her, because technically she's been the best lady on tour this year. Not many people can dispute that. And ability-wise, she has the potential to not just win this event, to win it without dropping a set. She should win this event without dropping a set. The only player you can think who could really do something against her is Rebecca, who won it last year.
And she is unfortunately off this week again with another virus, which is really sad to hear. Not really getting the grass court preparation she deserves, being the reigning champion. But we can't even look at last year's Wimbledon for Sabalenka. As you did point out, she was banned being from Belarus. So we will have to look through this one, which was obviously 2 years ago, to see her last Wimbledon performance. And like you said, there it is right at the top. She got all the way there to the semi, and it was Karolina Pliskova that did dispatch her in that semi-final. and it was a capitulation again, and it was something we've sort of become used to seeing from her. I feel that she's turned the
Well,
corner
she
a
beat
little
two
bit.
better players in the rounds before, in Jabeur and Rybakina.
Yeah, I mean, it's a crazy list there to go. It's almost back to front. I feel like it should be Pliskova, then Jabeur,
Not sure about
then
Niculescu at the front.
no, I mean
That been your
the last.
semi?
That's the last. That's the last three.
Katie
I'm
brought
not
her in the
put-
quarters.
That's it. Balta, who knows? Just won a tournament. But go on, Balts. You never know. Maybe her and Dimonor have just been practicing a lot on these grass courts. I mean, no better place to do it. I mean, Dimonor's happy on the grass because we're the Brit, that's for sure.
Right, back to Saba, Ben. Are you
yeah.
lapping up everything I've been saying about her?
I am lapping it up. I do think that she is the best player.
So you're just going to
on
sit
tour
on
this
here and agree with everything I've said about Sabalenka, and you're just saying, why don't you just put your hands up and say I'm just the GOAT at tennis predictions, and you agree with everything I say?
I don't agree with that. There you go. You proved something that I don't agree with everything you say. I think that she is the strongest, but she's not the strongest mentally, and that's the one thing that is the key.
That's what I said.
Yeah, she's the strongest player, probably on all surfaces. There you go. I've said it. But
Oh no, that's where you're wrong. She's not stronger than Igor on slow clay. Don't care what you say. You're wrong there.
well, she could be eventually, but
Yeah, but
it's
she's
one
not.
of those.
So that's a wrong statement you've made.
She could be if she really put her mind to it. If she really dug
She
deep,
could be. It's the most ridiculous thing you could say about something. Oh, she could be.
she
I
could
could be a football player if I was really lucky. I'm good at football.
Well, I thought you used to tell me you were pretty good.
Ridiculous.
You could be professional.
Could be Ben, they're going to call him.
You could be ITF soon.
Ridiculous. I could be a professional tennis player if I was good at tennis.
Don't even need to be good these days. You can just turn up get into some tournaments. Or sneak you in the qualies, get you in there. If the weather carries on like this, I think you might do all right. Probably outlast some of the players. I don't know how they're coping. So, having a bit of a heat wave, in case anybody's wondering, from other parts of the world. In the UK, we had about 32 degrees. It was a hot one. I was there under a fan. You were playing tennis on a court somewhere, so I don't know what's going on.
Got to do it. Do it for the fans.
That's it. I melt on the court. I couldn't take any equipment out to even film. It would have all broken, I think, in that heat.
Moving on, because there's too much small talk here, Ben.
Right, here we go. On to her current form. And this is Sabalenka. And unfortunately, she's played 2 matches on grass, but she lost her second match to Kudermetova. Do you read too much into this form, or do you just think it's just the start of the season?
Not at all. Not at all. I'm not going to read into any of the form on the women's. I feel we could just get
none.
No, not really. I think we could get someone who just does very well. I don't think Mukova was she playing. If you go down, just look at Mukova a second. I know you got her on the screen. Was she playing particularly great before Roland Garros? Because I thought she had a little dip before. It wasn't like she was in like mad form just before. So if you go back, yeah, look, she lost to Badoza's not terrible though. She did better than I thought she did actually. So you can't really say that. But I do find, I mean, it wasn't great. Look, Madrid, she lost to Begu. She wasn't inspiring me on the clay before she went into Roland Garros at all.
Yeah.
And I think on the women's, irrelevant to this Mukova example, because it's not the best one, I think you do often get players in not very good form who just find their form in a Grand Slam. So that's why I'm not going to read too much into it. And we could see someone like an Ostapenko do extremely well here.
Could see,
or a Barbara Krejcikova.
What about, she's just been to a final as well, Krejcikova. Kvitova, she just won a tournament.
Maya.
Maybe. She's on the up. The thing is, there could even be an unseeded player come through and do really well in this tournament. I mean, there are good players out there, and anything can happen sometimes in this women's game. I feel that it's up for grabs. Rybakina with a virus, Sabalenka maybe mentally not quite there. Iga, it's not a good tournament for her.
Listen,
the doors are open.
I'm going to say one thing, and I'm not going to say anything. Actually, it's just me. Look at this. It's emotion. What's that? Sorry for the audio listeners right now. I don't know what's going on.
So I'll describe. Looks like he's throwing something and letting it go with. He's just like I'm gonna go with. It's like a pin in the dark or something like that. Is that like the thing that you were going with? Maybe if you closed your eyes, like
it's like a dart.
Okay, throwing a dart.
You've just said it, Ben.
In
Harriet Dart. Watch out at Wimbledon.
In the dark.
Not in the dark. She'll be playing in the light. She might be playing in the dark if she gets really far and they have to put her on one of the court, the centre court at night.
Oh,
but it won't be dark because the lights will be on. However, Harriet Dart, watch out for her at Wimbledon. Always a danger. Big up the dart.
Do you reckon you'll get any like darts chants in there, like 180?
Do you reckon people will bring darts in and start throwing them on the court?
That's the celebration. Just throwing
He
darts.
just dodges all the darts. Right. Anyway, that's enough of that one. Let's bring up some odds, Ben. Have you got them?
Yeah.
Because I'm anticipating, I've not actually seen them. I think Alcaraz would have moved up slightly from last episode based off him winning Queens. I think Sab will probably stay the same. So I remember it was Rybakina favourite. Then we had Saba and Iga joint second favourite. Djokovic was a massive favourite on the men's. And then we had Alcaraz, but he was some way down.
Alcaraz was second last time, but I think his odds may have... Oh, right. I thought you said he was some way down.
No, but he was some way down in second. It wasn't a close one.
Right,
okay, so I think he has shortened. I think it was sixes before. I'm not sure though. Medvedev third. Sinner, yeah. Okay, Korda's moved up a little bit, maybe, because it's based on his performances. There's Andy Murray.
Yeah, I think Korda deserves to be up there as well. I think he's really good.
Well, I'm going to tell you now, I fancy Korda more than I would do Yannick Sinner.
Tough to say. I mean,
let's have a look. Let's have a look at the women's because I believe we're still on the first section here, Ben. And we've got a lot to get through.
Right, so let's move over to the women's, and there we go. So Rybakina and Iga equal favourites at the moment.
So Iga. So the only thing that's happened is Iga's moved up. I disagree with that big time. Saba's where the money's at. Fives. Wow.
What's she done to move up as well? She played one grass court match. She played today. She went to 3 sets with Tatiana Maria. She did bagel her in the final set. So it just took a set to get going. A bit like Alcaraz, I guess. Iga, she's always in with a chance. We know that for a fact.
She's not winning Wimbledon.
Oh.
But so there we go. That is our contenders section. Alcaraz and Sabalenka on episode 2. But next up, we have some latest news. And this is my favorite section. It's where I come into my own and share some of the latest Twitter news for Wimbledon. And let me just adjust the screen.
That's it. Well, he always told me he wanted to be a news reporter when he was younger. And now he gets the opportunity to bring the news up on the screen. And there it is. It's Stan the Man. Been practicing with Novak Djokovic, I've seen, giving Djokovic some volley in practice over the last day.
I just love his hashtags. I think it's good to bring it up because he's the king of hashtags on Twitter. The ones we've got today is London, Wimbledon, practice, hard work, trust the process. Do you trust the process? Is he going to be able to do well in Wimbledon? Let us know in the comment section below. Next one we've got is a tennis letter, and we're probably not allowed to show this one. So block that. And this is an incredible point from Wimbledon qualifying, jumping, sliding, falling, diving. This is your friendly reminder that there's some beautiful tennis happening in qualies all the time.
I did watch that one. That was it Tara Daniel versus Trungelliti, I believe. And
that's correct, yeah.
Trungelliti was diving all over the court and ended up losing the point, but it was entertaining.
Tomjanovic until next year. So it looks like she withdrew. I didn't even realise that.
After I did my video as well, which was just, I had her as a dangerous unseeded player. And then
she's done very well at Wimbledon over the years as well. So that's a
quarter-finalist the last 2 years running.
I remember I asked Diminor a question about how the Australians doing so well at Wimbledon. And I said all the names of them. And she was like, you forgot, are you?
Yeah,
I was like, oh,
I know.
yeah, she was also doing well. Let's move down. We've seen that one. So we've got Luigi Gatto, Wimbledon 2019, iconic.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
sad.
Not...
Won't ever see that picture again.
That's
We've got this is a good one. Having a bit of a break before. No, I can't really dismiss that. The reason I want to just move past it is because it actually does break my heart. Like I honestly can't talk about it because it breaks my heart. And the Djokovic fans aren't going to like it, but for me, growing up, like this was the greatest rivalry times matchups what I've ever seen. Like I just can never forget that Wimbledon final when Rafa won it, the emotion, him jumping up that box. Mate, it's just mad. Like that's why I love tennis, because of things like this and what I was able to see. So that's why I don't want to talk about it, because it just generally makes me sad that we don't have that right now.
It was dramatic. I'll give you that much.
So we've got Chung back, and this is his first match win. So the first win since Roland Garros 2020.
Wow.
In for a shot?
Not bad. Beating Kuzmanov, not a bad player.
Yeah, maybe. Let's see if he can qualify. That'll be a big ask, but we'll definitely sell some tickets if he can. And this is the one like you said. Iga improves to 10-6 on grass. 7-5 if you exclude qualifying results since winning the 2018 Junior Wimbledon. She won 10 of the last 11 to beat Tatiana Maria, who also did very well last year at Wimbledon. She got all the way to the semis, remember? So she's a good player on the grass.
Oh, yeah. Very, very good. So
we've got Sinner here confirming he will be playing Wimbledon following his medical exams after his retirement to Bublik. That's obviously good news. We've not spoke about Sinner's fragility yet again, pulling out of matches, and just there's so many problems for him. But yeah, we want to see him at Wimbledon because he can produce special moments, and the grass suits his game more than a lot of the young players.
Especially on the run. Loves a shot on the run at Wimbledon.
Well, his serve's pretty great as well.
It was amazing last year, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, we had the privilege of actually watching it live. Right, let's say this is the last one. So this is Althea Gibson, become the first African-American to play at Wimbledon on this day, 1951. Wow. Falling in round 3 that year, the legend went on to win titles in 1957 and 1958. And I remember we did a video a long time ago in Black History Month regarding some of the black tennis players to break through. And she was a name we had on there very high in our top 10.
Yes.
Like, you see what it's been able to do for the sport since then. I think it is so important to have people from all different backgrounds representing tennis. And I don't want it just to be a sport for the establishment, just for like a secluded group of people who have money. It should be for people of all backgrounds, of all over the world. And listen, look what the Williams sisters have done, and how great champions they've been, and how iconic they've been at Wimbledon. Growing up on the women's, the best player I've ever seen, Serena Williams.
Definitely.
The greatest player to ever play tennis? I think so. So, yeah, certainly paved the way for seeing some of the best tennis in the world.
Yeah, it was nice because we obviously had, after the French Open as well, Yannick Noah giving the trophy to Novak Djokovic. Obviously, he won Roland Garros, but back in the 80s. And obviously putting like black tennis players on the map at the time, which was a real big achievement for him as well. Obviously being a Frenchman as well, which was massive for both things. So I could see it was quite an emotional thing. Like Djokovic was really touched by him being there. He really had made a nice comments in his speech about him. Yeah,
Djokovic is always very much in touch with history, and he's very respectful to the history of the sport. And I do respect that from him. But let's move on. That is the latest news. That segment's gone. Let us know what you think of some of the latest news. Do you like Stan's hashtags?
Love them.
But yeah, next section is tennis shootout.
Here we go.
And this is the greatest section of them all. Ben yet to get a question right. However, last week we're going to give him it because it was very close.
I didn't even get multiple choice, and I was within 5p of a
No,
Pimm's.
you basically got it right, man. 5p off the Pimm's.
I don't know how I even managed it. That just goes to show my memory remembers drink prices better than it does
I think it
tennis
scarred you. That's why.
matches. I think it did. I think you're right. I was there and I was like, when you came back, you were like, guess how much that was? And I was like, this much. You're like, no, this much. And I was like, what? No,
Then I'd already
way.
finished it in about 2 seconds.
Yeah,
But it was all ice anyway. There was no liquid in there.
Came back with just an empty cup. Anyway, right.
Who's going first on this one?
That is
Explain the rules for people watching.
Right. So if this is your first countdown episode, this is where we get to ask each other a piece of trivia relating to the Grand Slam we're talking about. We're talking about Wimbledon. So we'll both pick a question relating to Wimbledon, and maybe, if you're JG, relating to some of our experiences at Wimbledon for me. I'm yet to really do that for him. I've been picking him history questions, which he's been doing pretty well at, to be honest. So this time I'm going to be picking something slightly different, though.
Is it related to me? Because all of mine are always related to you.
Not really.
We've had famous Bens at Grand Slams. We've had drinks prices. I forget the other one I had on one of the other ones, but this one is not as related to you. It is in a little way.
I might ask you a question about trademarks. No. Anyway, I'm going to, well, maybe I'll start with my one just while it's fresh.
Go first, yeah.
While it's fresh in the mind, I will ask you this one. You get 30 seconds, and when the, well, there's not an actual timer that's on, but there's a countdown theme that will play throughout. And once the strings have played, that is when you must give your answer. If not before, you can do it, and we will stop the music, which is fine. But please wait until the end. It's fine, and then we can hear the lovely strings, and then it'll be.
No, I usually if I know it, I will stop it before bed.
Okay, I know, but I just know that if we don't let it continue, then it won't go to the end, and then we're gonna have to hear the end of it before we play it again.
I'll let the first one go out there.
So, that's the only problem. I don't have control over it.
We can have a little dance if I do know it. So let's just go with it. Ask the question and press the button.
Right.
I'm ready.
Okay. I'm going to give you multiple choice as well.
And no Googling. I'll keep my hands in.
Yeah, it's either give you multiple choice, or I am
wearing AI lenses, which can look onto my laptop.
Everything, it listens to what I'm saying and it just calculates the answer. I can either give you a multiple choice, or I can say you have to be within a certain amount. I might go do the Price is Right style on this one, like you did with the drink. Okay, right. So, as you know, Wimbledon has a queuing system where people queue up and get into the ground. There's quite a number of people.
I don't have a clue how many people queue.
Get into the ground. But when the ground is at full capacity, what is the full capacity allowed into Wimbledon? Go. And you have to be within, I'm going to say be within 1,000.
Well, what do you mean within 1,000, Ben? It's got to be within 10,000 or something.
Within 10. Come on.
All right, just press the button.
Go on.
Oh, God. I'll need all 30 seconds. Don't worry about that. I mean, it's very challenging, Ben. It's a very difficult question. I don't know. So let me try and think. Initially, my first thought was about 40,000, like around 40,000. But I don't actually know. I don't think it's going to be massively more than that. But if I had to guess, I would say slightly more. Is it less? No, it's got to be more. Is it 50? I think it's, I don't know. I think I've got an answer. Yeah? 42,000.
It's exactly right. It's 42,000.
You're joking.
No, it's actually 42. When you said it might be a little bit more than 40,000, I was like, is he going to push it up?
Mate, I think, I tell you what the truth. I think maybe I've seen that number. That's why I'm seeing it. Because when I was looking for a question for you, it popped up. But then I don't actually remember. Like, I wasn't sure if it was because it was like 4 million something prize money. So that's why I was getting mixed up with the fours. So that's why it was all a bit confusing. But if you're telling me that's right, that's pretty mad.
Bang on. Right. Everybody,
42,000.
give him a round of applause.
I bet everyone thinks I cheated, though. That's the thing.
They're probably watching. Well,
Gosh,
that's the thing with
very
these
good.
type of statistics that are around, like that. You may have seen it, but that's
It's like the 1877 one as well.
Exactly. There is only
Roland
one
Garros,
set
the
number.
pilot.
Yeah, I should have gone for the other question. But I had to take it from the official source. I was going to go with something different, but it was off just a different website.
No, I don't think I would have just guessed that 42. I think I must have seen it somewhere.
But when you went 40, you sort of you were like, might be a bit more.
I was thinking 40 is like not enough. I
thought you were going to calculate the amounts of the stadiums first, and then after that.
I knew it was about 40. I don't know. I thought it was 50, but part of me thought 50, but then no, I went 42.
Fantastic. Well, 42. It's on the nail on the head. Should get a bonus point for that, I think. To be within 1,000, you got it dead on. How often does that happen?
Right. Well, over to you, Ben. You're next up.
Right.
No pressure at all. This is your question. So, as you know, some people often refer to you as a very young person. You're often called a very young host, and some of your ideas and jokes are reminiscent of someone of a very young age. Based off all of this theme of young people, my question to you is, just want to get the number right. Out of the 112 players entered into Wimbledon who aren't the qualifiers, so just the 112,
Yeah.
who is the youngest player on the men's only?
Oh my God. It's not going to be like a Bruno. It's not going to be a Musetti. Think of someone younger. I can't think of anyone. My mind's drawing a blank. Think of someone young.
You're young, Ben.
Who's in there who hasn't had to qualify? Ben Shelton? I'm going to go with Ben Shelton.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, it's the only one I can think of.
Unfortunately, Ben, that is not correct. The youngest player is Arthur Fields.
How old was he?
19 years old, 12th of June, 2004.
How old's Ben Shelton?
Hopefully not younger.
I'm looking him up. He is 20.
Yeah.
9th of October.
That was a good
close.
guess. It was a good guess. It's not a bad one.
He looks younger. Give him that. Ben Shelton. He's got that baby face. But yeah, that's a good one, though. I like that.
Yeah, it's not a bad question. The other one who was close as well was Luca Van Asscher.
Yeah.
So Van Ascher's also 19, but Fields is 1 month younger than him.
Those French. There's a lot of good young French players. That's interesting. But I thought that you were going to relate it to me. So that's why I thought it was going to be a Ben again. That's why I thought, oh, maybe that's it. But he didn't. He tricked me.
No, I've related it to you in the fact that it's the young. We're talking about young players.
Well, I'm not too disappointed with my answer. I thought it was.
It's not that bad at all. The one thing I would say is I think Holger Rune and Alcaraz are both younger than Shelton. So
that was the problem. But he does look.
I'm not entirely sure about that, but I know they're all 20, and I think Alcaraz is younger.
Right, okay,
I'll let people fact check there in the comment section below. But there we go. That is our questions. And unfortunately for Ben, he got one wrong.
Well done to you. You got it right.
Yeah, well, don't worry. You can amend it because next section is all about the rankings. And Ben's done a video today, so he's the expert. So for this, we don't have to talk about the rankings anymore or the entry list because we have the seeds and it's all confirmed.
Yep, it is
Talk us through
confirmed.
it, Ben.
That's right. As we know, Carlos Alcaraz, he was sick of not being number one, wasn't he? And he had to go and win a tournament just to knock Djokovic down a peg. He was like, I'm going to be seeded number one yet again for another Grand Slam. This will be his third one in a row, but he obviously didn't play in Australia. So he will be the number one seed, Djokovic the number two. And they will be on different sides of the draw, which is brilliant because they are the two key features. We're not going to have Medvedev spoiling the party again like he did at the French Open. So they'll be split. Other players to have a look at in there. TFO, I think, is somebody who you might want to keep your eye out for there. He's been playing exceptionally well. Obviously, he won, was it Stuttgart? And it beat Struff in the final there. That was a really good one. Dimonor, another one to watch out for there. Sinner, the only one that we haven't really seen much of. And maybe people like Djokovic and Alcaraz. Yeah, people like Djokovic and Alcaraz probably thinking if I can have the choice between Rublev or Sinner right now, I'd probably rather have Sinner. Is the way that he's been playing. Well, the fragility of his body at the moment. Tsitsipas, he's in love. Might be have his mind on other things. I don't know. What do you think on Tsitsipas? Is this going to be the year that it all just falls into place and him and Badoza both win Wimbledon?
Why not? Who knows? Difficult to predict Tsitsipas. I can't predict Stefanos Tsitsipas at all. One thing I would say, how crazy is Echeverry, a seed now? The guy I've loved in the draw previews. I loved him for a reason. I told you, Ben, he's class. He's such a good player, but I don't see him doing it on the grass.
Good serve, though.
Yeah, no, this is some good. It's good seedings because I agree with you. I'm happy that Alcaraz Djokovic will only meet in a final if they were to meet. I think out of all of them players, if you had to pick one who Alcaraz and Djokovic want to avoid the most, would it be Medvedev?
At the moment, I'd probably. I mean, Korda, even though Alcaraz did beat him, I still feel like he is still a threat. I don't know what it is. I feel that he's got a good mentality on him. And if his body holds up, I feel that he is still, if he gets a few more wins under his belt at Wimbledon before he meets a bigger player, maybe Korda could be the answer to beating one of the big guys. But I don't know. It's a little bit untried, untested waters, really, for him. Bublik as well. I don't know. You think he's cursed, so I'm not going to go too big on him. Hurkacz?
I don't know, man. I actually am going to probably... It's probably Runa, maybe. It's the one they want to avoid. I think he's got a point to prove always and just think he can do well. And then the other one, the obvious one's Kyrgios.
Yeah, I mean, he's just not really played. He's a bit injured, isn't he? So I don't really know if he's even going to be in any sort of form coming in. I mean, what's he played? One match, lost to Wu, looked injured. So
yeah, but it's a slow process.
Yeah, right. So let's move on to. Do you want to look through just the outsider seedings? We sort of have these ones for the men's. We can have a quick look through. Big shout out to the alternate, who now all of these ones that are highlighted here, they made it in as wild cards now. So Sebastian
got a wild card.
Yeah, so these three mean they're into the tournament proper now.
Yeah, but is it a wild card?
Yeah, these once they turn yellow, they go into the main draw. They're an alternate, but then they get dished out.
Okay, yeah, I can see it. Offner, Goffin, Fields, Brody, Choinsky, Peniston, Ferry, and Lofhagen. GB, Lofhagen.
Yeah.
We've got Brody as well, Peniston. Let's see.
Yeah, there was another Brit that was qualifying today that I've not really even heard the name of. Johannes Monday, 6'6", about 500 in the world. Quite interesting. Beat the young Croatian player that we saw in Zagreb.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Polachak. Yeah, beat him today. So might be interesting. Keep an eye on him. Right, let's move over to the women's because I know we've got some other bits still to get through. These are the women's seeds. Iga, always number 1. Saba, always number 2, it seems. Rybakina 3, finally, knocking Pegula down. And let's have a look to see if there's any surprises. Is Sakali going to suddenly turn up in this tournament now? All the others are a little bit unsure of themselves.
I think you could see anyone making a big run here. Not sure who it's going to be, but one of these could make a run. Has Mukova played on the grass at all?
Let me have a quick check.
You just had her up a second ago.
I did indeed. No, she has not.
Yeah, I think she's resting after playing very well at Roland Garros. So she could be a bit of an unknown entity. Could do well.
Sharif made it into the seeds.
I like Hadid Maya still. Or Vekic.
Vekic is good. She's just been to a final as well.
Yeah.
So there's a lot. What about Potapova? I mean,
yeah,
she seems to be in good form on all surfaces, I feel. She's really turned up this year. So good for her. And obviously...
The big story here with the seed, sorry, Ben, to interrupt, is the fact that whose side of Rybakina are going to be on, Iga or Saba's. If it's on Saba's side, Iga's got a chance for a final. If it's on the other side, then Saba's got a good chance for the final. That's how I see this playing out. And honestly, it really will be a bit like that because Rybakina is the most dangerous third player there can ever be. Neither will want her because she can beat either Saba or Iga. More so Iga. I think if Iga has Rybakina on her side, if Rybakina doesn't pull out like she did at Roland Garros, then Iga's going to be thinking, oh gosh, I'm probably going to lose. Especially on this surface of all of them.
Yeah, I mean, and the other main takeaway from these seedings, because last year they would have looked nothing like this, is we've got all the Russians and Belarusians in, and the Russians are looking great as well. Alexandrova has won a tournament on grass and got to a semi-final, I think. We've got Samsonova's in as well. We've got Kudermetova's in. Kasatkina's in. I mean, there's so many great Russian players. Obviously, we've got Azarenka back from Belarus as well. It means that we're going to have an actual full tournament of very competitive tennis on the women's side, and it includes everybody this time, not just a select few. So that's really good.
Well, let's see. Who do we have for our surprise packages? So, giving ourselves a recap, who did we have last week?
I mean, mine couldn't have started any worse. I mean, I went with the old guard last week. I went with Andy Murray because he'd come off the back of 2 tournament wins on the Challenger. It doesn't look so bad now. At the time, I thought he just got smacked up by Alex de Minaur, but then Alex de Minaur's been playing very well. So it was Murray a little bit tired as well. So I'm not too down.
Okay, and the other one?
Vitalina was the other one, and then she got bageled by Fravitova in her first class.
And my 2 were?
And yours first 2 were Musetti, who didn't do too badly at Queen's, and Mukova, who hasn't played in the grass yet.
Okay.
That one, bit of a risk.
Nice foundations. I don't mind them. I'm going to go straight in, unless you want to. I don't want to take it if it's your one.
I mean, it has to be outside the top 10. So we're probably going to be having similar people, but you go for it. And if you pick it, I'll just have to pick someone else. It's fine.
Okay, so mine for the men's is going to be Alex de Minaur.
Okay, that's
fine.
Is that
who you had?
No, I was going to go Sebastian Korda.
Oh, that's a good one. So yeah, I'm going to stick with Alex de Minaur for all the reasons we've spoke about. I think he's really good on the grass and playing well.
Okay, so
and you've gone for Korda for similar reasons. That's not a bad one to add to the collection. And for the women's,
it's a lot tougher, isn't it, on this one? But
you can go first.
I think I'm going to go with Ostapenko.
Okay, you can have her. I wasn't going to have her, so I'm happy with that. My heart went then for a moment. I was thinking you've got the same as me.
I was going to Beckett or something.
Let's bring this up. Just have a little
go
look.
on. You have a little browse. You can go outside this as well. You can go further down the list.
No. It's one of these, and it is Beatrice Hadid Maya.
Ooh, you're keeping them very close to the top 10, your ones. I was thinking about going TFO number 10, but I thought that's a come on.
You can do next week. But yeah, I'm just building up my army of some solid tennis players.
It is a good
Mukova, Hadid Maya, Musetti. Alex de Minaur. Oh.
Oh, well, Murray, Cordes, Svitolina, Ostapenko.
There's a lot of that is not that doesn't fill me
variety.
with confidence. Does
It's
not fill me with
variety, though.
confidence.
I feel like you're going down the same avenue with yours. Mine are a bit all over, like covering all the bases.
Yours are just a bit wild in the fact that they could do well, they could be really bad. Mine are quite. There's a good base level.
Yeah, you're going there. You're going across the board there.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll take it. Let us know what you guys think in the comment section below. That does conclude episode 2 of the countdown for Wimbledon 2023. 1 week to go. We're going to be covering as much as possible. We've got draw previews coming up. We've got news videos. We have qualifiers to watch, predictions, previews. So much happening only on Game to Love. And of course, the famous GTL prediction preview video we will play before every single match, where we'll hear what all the commentators think and who they think is going to win. Let's see. You don't want to miss it. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you very soon.
See you later.
On to the grass courts. Vamos!